Alright guys, so here we are, yet another test game with our Colossal Fiends deck. Opening hand, good, not great. We are sitting on 3 lands, but there is no red mana source. This is very not good. We don't have very many forests in the deck, and to start out with this many is never a good sign for the game, but we're going to get that going anyways. Hopefully we're on the play, but hopefully we can get a red mana source real fast. Then we run into an interesting situation. And I'll talk about real quick. I always run into kind of a debate with myself on turn 2. If I'm sitting on turn 2 and I have a green and red mana source and I have the Blood Crazed and the Kiln Fiend, I always end up in a bit of a debate about what to play first. Now, if I have something like Violent Outburst in hand or Colossal Might, the first play is hands down Kiln Fiend. You're going to be able to get a really big hit on the next turn, turn 3. If I don't have any kind of real sorceries worth playing, if I just have like an Explorer or an Apostle's Blessing, then the Kiln Fiend may not be the best option. Then in that situation, I would probably put out the Neonate, try and get those counters going as fast as possible. But did not draw into a mountain. I did, however, draw into Evolving Wilds, which I can use to find that mountain. So my turn 2 play is going to be put off a turn, but hopefully we can still make a comeback from that. So here we go. We run to another game. We are facing across from Perilous Mirror. Will be a bit of a trouble card against this deck. And I do decide to play the Hound. At this point in time, if I put down these two, I consider the Vampire and the Kiln Fiend to be kind of the stronger 2-drop, other than the Hound. Those two cards are much stronger, so if I put the Hound into play first, try and get rid of this Mirror right away, what I'm doing is preemptively protecting these two creatures. I'm trying to get him to block or attack into this Hound, so I can get rid of that Mirror. You see, he does kind of foil his plan. He does incinerate the Hound. So now I'm going to be forced to choose one of these to try and block that Mirror. And it's one of those situations where you want to just do your best. If he does have that play, then well, game goes on. I do sit here and I debated whether or not the Kiln Fiend or the Neonate were the best options. I decided to play the Kiln Fiend. I figured he might attack into the Kiln Fiend, at which point I would not block and take the 1 damage, and then could make a nice play later on. With the Violent Outburst, hopefully hitting into a Colossal Might and attacking with the Kiln Fiend. But he does get that. He plays the Wellspring, gets a Mountain, and then plays kind of a fun card. I did have at one point play around with in a version of this deck that was more artifact heavy, with the Rebirth. It allows him to sacrifice that, get another land from his deck, and put 3 Goblin tokens into play. So now we're sitting in yet another interesting situation. I was hoping that he would attack with this Mirror and leave an open way for me to attack in response with Kiln Fiend, Violent Outburst, and a Colossal Might. But he did not, and now it's even worse because he has 4 blockers on the table. He has the ability to use 2 Goblin tokens to chump block the Kiln Fiend, and kill it if he needs to. We don't have any kind of real mass kill, so going through these Goblin tokens is going to be a bit hairy. We draw another Evolving Wilds, and of course we're going to use this to get a mountain since we are only sitting on 1. Running a 2-color deck, you definitely want at least 2 of every land. It allows you to make as many plays as you can. What I am going to do, I'm going to put out the Boar now. Playing the Vampire here is not a good idea. Excuse me, I'm choking over here. If I play this Vampire, it's forced to attack on every turn. So putting this into play, he is going to simply block it to kill it with a Goblin, or the Mirror. If he blocks it with the Mirror, he kills my Kiln Fiend, and it really just hurts myself. So you don't want to play that Vampire at this point in time. By playing the Boar, we give ourselves an option later on to gain life. We do have an option to kind of attack into the Mirror if we have an option, but we have even better an option to block. He is now going to attack with the Mirror. I am not going to block it. Just take the single damage instead of allowing him to kill a Kiln Fiend. We do also, you see, I draw another Vampire. This is now an opportunity where I can play this Vampire. If I decided that I can use it to attack into these Goblins, maybe eat up a token or 2, make that trade, I will make that play. Now we are sitting at a point in time where I'm sitting across from 3 tokens Making a bit of a risky play here, attacking with both these creatures. The boar is not so much a problem. The ColossalFiend is a problem. If he does decide to double block it, I will have my only choice being this Violent Outburst and hope it cascades into something worthwhile that will save it, like the Colossal Might or an Apostle's Blessing. But we are going to just sit here and have to do it this way. We're going to attempt to attack through, see what he does on the block. And he does decide he singularly blocks the boar with 1 token. Now this is a misplay on my opponent's part, in my opinion. Chump blocking just the boar is going to simply prevent 2 damage. If he were to immediately, if he even double blocked on the boar to kill it, he would prevent himself more damage down the road. By singularly blocking this, sure, he's preventing the damage this turn, but he's allowing me to continue to attack with this boar, and I will be able to get through eventually. If it takes me 4 turns and he chump blocks with a goblin every turn, eventually I will get through and do that 2 damage. By double blocking, he kills this off. He knows it's going to be sacrificed so I can gain 4 life, so he's going to be able to keep both of his goblin tokens. But, it's his misplay. I'm going to try and capitalize on it. He didn't block the ColossalFiend at all, so I'm going to play the Violent Outburst and hope that we come into a spell that will further pump the ColossalFiend up. And now here you see I make a bit of a misplay, I believe. I played the Cascade here. You see it casts the spell, and you cast it without paying the mana cost. Now, when it cascades into Apostle's Blessing, it gives you an option when you click on it, and it asks, do you want to play this for 1 and 2 life or 1 and a white mana? What I did there is I accidentally clicked on 1 and 2 life. Now, that 2 life is an additional cost, so it is not cancelled out by Cascade. What you should do is choose 1 and a white, and then it costs you nothing. By choosing 1 and 2 life, I pay 2 life, and it cost me nothing. So, all I did there was take 2 damage unnecessarily, and you just have to hope at this point in time that that mistake doesn't screw you later on. I just wanted to take a minute to point this out because I'm sure other people will make this mistake. I'm usually pretty aware of it. I have made it before, just, unconscious thought. Playing this deck without white mana, you're like, oh, I can't cast it, for a white mana, but the Cascade allows you to do it for free. So you want to be able to do that. But it does also pump the ColossalFiend yet again. I'm going to give it protection from red at this point in time, just in the off chance that he has a burn spell or some kind of trick up his sleeve. If he has a burn spell, it's not really going to help me because he's going to, be able to kill the ColossalFiend before the Apostle's Blessing leaves the stack. But we're going to choose red anyways, the card's in play, why not? So now we're going to swing through. You see my ColossalFiend is an 8/2, and he's going to take that damage. My 3/2 boar is going to kill off this goblin token. Again, a misplay on his part. He should have killed off the boar, but he is now down a goblin token, and I am going to play the Neonate in an attempt to try and kill off a goblin token, and hope that he attacks through with the mirror again. If he doesn't, then I've made a misplay. He's going to use the mirror to kill the ColossalFiend. But based off the last turn, I decided that it was a smart idea to play this Neonate and try and draw out. Draw out that play. I am sick, so I'm kind of trying to not cough here in mid-video. But so he does also play a Needle Drop, an interesting card choice. He does get a card draw off it, but it is going to be enough to do that 2nd damage to the boar. And now I understand why he only chump blocked with 1 goblin token instead of trying to trade the 2. I still think it was a bad play because if he had the 2, I would have sacrificed the boar. I don't think there is a situation where I would have traded the boar for 2 tokens, but maybe that's just my mistake. In response to this, though, I am going to sacrifice the boar, go back up to 20 life, and then the blood-crazed Neonate is going to go into play. So, game goes on. He is putting down more lands. He does play an Atog. Now, this is an interesting thing. I'm going to see yet another misplay here on my opponent's part. Like I said, I wanted to play this Neonate because I expected him to keep attacking through with the mirror. By him attacking with the mirror, ignore these 2 Atogs that he just played. If he keeps attacking through, I can just simply take that 1 damage and not worry about it. That 2 damage that it gets from dying is never going to be a factor because I'm not going to block it with the ColossalFiend on the table. In order to use this to kill the ColossalFiend, he needs to use it as a blocker. Now he's played the Atogs. Now he has the option at any point in time he can just sacrifice this mirror and kill off the Kiln Fiend. But you'll see that he has several opportunities and does not really do so. He's going to attack through, with the 2 goblins and the mirror, and I am of course not going to block with the vampire. It's a pretty poor trade at that point in time. I am going to attack through. Well, I have to attack through with the vampire, and see what happens with these Atogs. This is what I expected. He is going to chump block with an Atog, and what he can do to save this is simply sacrifice the mirror, kill off the Kiln Fiend, block this, and the Neonate will die. The Atog will be fine. That is really the right play here. He actually instead makes kind of an interesting move and decides to sacrifice his Dark Steel Citadel. No real point to that. He's just kind of slowing his mana down. I understand he's got Cloud Posts, but still, it's definitely not the right play. I'm playing an aggro deck. I'm down to 2 cards in hand. He doesn't realize one is a land, but still, if you're playing aggro, you gotta make a better play on this one. If you have an opportunity to kill off the creatures when I have no hand, or a very small hand, then you're going to put yourself in an advantage to win. But he is making misplays, so I am going to play my second vampire, hoping to get some kind of similar play from him. It's something you see a player do it once. There is a good chance that he will realize his mistake and fix it. But I'm always the type, maybe a pessimist, but I like to think that he's going to continue to make the same mistake. So you see, I also put down the Evolving Wilds. You can hold it in hand to bluff. I like to do that on many occasions, but I will use it, sacrifice it to get a land. At this point in the game, I've got no hand, and I really do not want to draw a land. Once you go into top deck mode like this, if you hit a land, it's probably going to be game. So we really don't want to be able to do that. Now he's going to swing with all of his creatures. Another interesting choice, I have left both creatures at home. The vampire is still under summoning sickness, but the Kiln Fiend will be able to chump block a goblin token and probably survive. He has 2 cards in hand. I am taking a chance that he could have another needle drop, and he will be able to kill the Kiln Fiend, but I do decide to just kind of cheat that a little bit, and make the attempt to kill it. Now he makes another interesting move. He played a Great Furnace at the beginning of his turn and decided to sacrifice that to an Atog. Again, not sacrificing the mirror, which would kill off the Kiln Fiend, would have kept his goblin token alive. Just not a real great play here. If you've got these Atogs in here, the point is to use them with the mirror. Stuff like that. Definitely a misplay on his part. You want to be able to sacrifice that. This Kiln Fiend should have died long, long ago. And now he's in a situation where he's completely tapped out. I can swing through free with these creatures. The vampire is going to get a +1/+1 counter, and I draw a lightning bolt, so it means that I'm going to be able to kill an Atog here, and the Kiln Fiend is going to be able to get pumped. His choice now is he could have, again, lightning bolt's doing 3 damage. The Atog, when you sacrifice, gets +2/+2. When I target that Atog, what he should have done at this point, still not realizing it, is he should have sacrificed the mirror. Then he would have been able to kill the Kiln Fiend, would not take 4 damage, and the Atog would have lived. Still making the misplay. I'm going to be able to attack through, unblocked with the vampire, and the 4 damage from the Kiln Fiend as well. Fast forward this a bit, it's stalling up. So there, just another big misstep on my opponent's part. Could have prevented that damage yet again. Save himself 4 damage, would have killed off the Kiln Fiend. But if he's gonna keep making the misplays, then I'm gonna just keep taking advantage of it. It's really kind of a cutthroat business, but you do what you gotta. So Glimmer Post comes down, brings my opponent up to 9. Things are a little tricky. You see, this is what I was talking about, where a place where I really did not want to be. I'm in the mid game. I'm really on top deck mode. I'm in a bad situation because he will eventually find a way to get rid of this mirror. And now is a good time. I am forced to attack with the vampire, and he's got it untapped. So it's a really bad timing. I really did not want to see this mountain. And he does. He finally has gotten the hint. He is going to chump block with that, kill off the Kiln Fiend. And then the vampire is not going to get a token off this. So, luckily he did not have another kill spell for that. Kind of tells me that these 3 cards in his hand are going to be land cards. It just, you find out, just kind of getting into the psychology of things. if he's not playing kill spells to kill my creatures, um, you kind of figure there's got to be a reason to it, that he does not have something available. So now he's going to swing through. He's going to again use the Furnace offensively to pump up his Atog. I think if it were me, I would use it more defensively, but that's that. He does get another mirror into play, and that's dangerous, though he still has not realized that he can use the Atog to kill off creatures like that. So, now I've drawn the Ranit, and this is really the reason why I wanted to include this game. The Ranit 1-of is kind of an odd choice, and this was actually a game where it became a significant factor. The reason I added it to the deck is for the mid to late game. You find yourself in a situation like this and you need a bigger creature. You're drawing a lot of land, you're kind of just dead in the water, but you need a bigger creature on the field. Now I'm going to be forced to attack with this vampire first, and this is good. You want to be able to, at this point, draw out the kill for the mirror. Any kind of burn spells he may have, so that when I get this Valley Ranit into play, it's going to stay alive. So I'm forced to attack with this first. He is going to block with the mirror and use it to kill off the vampire. And now in my second main phase, where I've done what I expected to, I'm going to be able to play this bigger creature and put him in a not very good situation. He's currently got no artifacts to sacrifice to the Tog, so I can use this Rennet to chump block and kill off his creatures if he so decides to come in. Now he does play the Citadel. I am aware of the fact, that he can attack and kill it. The Ranit's kind of nice. It's a big 6 attack, but the problem that brings it down is the 3 toughness. And he had the opportunity. He could have attacked there with the Atog, and see if I was, stupid enough to block, force with the Citadel. He is choosing to leave it at home. This is perhaps a smarter move. He's finally kind of putting things together. Now he can use this defensively. If I swing with the Ranit, he can block with the Atog and use this to kill it off. So it's we're at a stalemate right now. I do manage a top deck into a Tin Street Hooligan, and this is really, God bless top deck mode. It doesn't always pan out for you, but this time around it did. I'm going to be able to play this and kill off this Citadel, losing his option to pump the Atog. Now it's on my turn. My terms, sorry. This is going to come down. His only option is to sacrifice it to the Atog and prevent my attack on this turn and, hope for the next turn. But I'm really kind of putting myself in an advantage here because, I'm controlling the tempo. I'm forcing him to, use it now, not when he so desires. So that's, God bless top deck mode. I'm not going to attack into it. It's going to be a stupid move. It's just going to cost me this Ranit, which I really want me, to win this game for me. I'm really gonna need it to do so. So now he plays another Atog. I'm okay with that. It does mean he has no artifacts to sacrifice, but he has all 3 untapped, so he will be able to block with all 3 to kill the Ranit. Something to be aware of. I'm still not going to attack into it. There's no need. I'm down by 2 life, but this game is not so far out of hand. I think at this point in time, I'm sitting pretty well until he gets another artifact on that board. Especially a mirror would be trouble. But until he gets a play like that going, I'm sitting kind of in the position to control the tempo of this game. So we draw into an Explore, and I use it hoping to, play a or get a playable card, and I just end up in another land. And I complain about this all the time, but this is really frustrates me the most, is being in the mid to late game in a situation like this where, I want a Lightning Bolt or I want a Colossal Might so I can trample. Something like that to really force the game in my favor, and I'm just drawing land. I hate that, play land go. It's really just not, the only exception is when I'm playing control, but, when I'm playing aggro, something like this, I burnt out my hand. I find this is what frustrates me most in, draft format, limited formats. Is I end up in situations. But anyways, that's off topic. We draw into a boar. We will put it down. My opponent had no play. He has no artifacts. We are still not going to really attack. You see here, I am going to attack with the Hooligan. He has no real choice here. He can double block if he wants to kill the Hooligan. I'm sorry, he only needs to single block to kill the Hooligan. And it's going to kill whatever it blocks. I have the boar in play, so I have another blocker. It's really a good situation to try and be a little more aggressive on my part, bring this game back into my control. We tie it up. He did decide, here's the situation. If he does decide to block, even with the Goblin token, and trades this token for the Tin Street Hooligan. I'm sitting at a point where now I can attack with my Ranit, because what's keeping it back right now is the fact that he has 3 damage in play with these creatures. He can block with all 3 and kill this. So if I can get rid of one of these, then I can start attacking with this guy and try and get damage through. He does still have 2 cards in hand, maybe another Needle Drop, but it's a thing a chance that I have to take. So now he makes an interesting play. He attacks with all 3 of these, and this is kind of a, I don't know. I want to say it's a bad move on his part, but I don't think it is so much a bad move as just I'm aware enough about the current game not to screw this up. So in order for these Atogs to attack and kill this Ranit when blocked, he has to be able to sacrifice an artifact. He currently has no artifacts, so what that tells me is that these 2 cards that he has in hand, one of those is a burn spell at least. Maybe another Needle Drop, and he just needs actually, a Needle Drop isn't going to kill it, so you're expecting more like a shock or something that's going to do 2 damage. Could even be 2 Needle Drops. But that's the only reason that he is going to attack with these. And I'm at a point in this game where I don't need to block with my Ranit. I'm at 7 life. He's got no artifacts, so what's going to happen if I don't block is I'm going to take 3 damage. And if he has, whatever he has as a burn spell, it's going to be less than 3. If what he had was a burn for 3, he would kill this Ranit. So I know that what he has in hand is less than 3. So assuming at max it's a 2, what I'm going to take is 5 damage. That puts me at 2 life, and I have 4 extra life I can gain off the boar. So there's no point in me blocking with this guy. What I can do instead is I can use the boar to block, call his bluff a little bit. If he does have a burn spell, the boar is dead, but it's not really dead because I can sacrifice it for the 4 life, which I'm going to want to do anyways. And if he doesn't have the burn spell, well, the boar is going to live and the Atog's going to die. So there's really no bad move on my part now. It's just a matter of being aware for the game. If I was not so if I was, God, I don't want to say if I was stupider, but really if I was stupider, then I would block with this Ranit and he would have been able to block and kill it with the burn spell. But I don't make that mistake, and he does turn out to be a shock, which he plays on the boar, protecting his Atog, but I will sacrifice the boar to gain 4 life. And now we're at a point in time where he's got 1 card in hand and he has tapped himself out. So I'm going to be able to swing through with this Ranit and my tin. Sorry, I kind of fast forwarded past that, but at this point in time, he's tapped himself out. It was kind of an all-in play. I read it correctly. Much to his dismay. He probably could have drawn this out a little more to find a kill for that, but did decide to take that chance. I read it correctly, and that puts me in a position to win. He did not have a creature to leave at home to chump block this Ranit and prevent the damage, so it's going to be able to go through, and on top of the damage from the Hooligan, it's going to be enough to finish him. So, there was a lot of question about this singleton card. Didn't show it really as a mana fixer in this game. What it actually was is kind of its intended purpose. A big body in the late game. When you're in top deck mode. So just a video here to hopefully show this to you, maybe kind of enforce the reason of keeping it in there if you give it a try.